Yeah, so welcome everybody. This is our kind of the last meeting of the International Delphic Academy this academic year. Then we've got the summer holidays. We'll reconvene in the autumn. Um, it's been quite a challenging few months with the state of the world, and the global psyche is very much in schizophrenic mode. So we're trying to do what we can through the arts and through applied wisdom, really, as academics, to salvage what we can from this melting world. Which I saw a map on Channel 4 News last night of all the fires going on in Europe, in Turkey, in Greece, in Spain. I mean, a lot of heat waves are going on all over Europe. It's frightening. So that's the context in which we're meeting. How can we put out all these fires of ignorance, hatred, fear, etc., etc.? So anyway, that's me. I'm Thomas Daffern. This is just a little introductory go round. Just say who you are, brief summary. I'm a philosopher and poet and historian, coordinator of the Delphic Academy. I've had a passionate love affair with Greece ever since I read ancient history as a teenager and felt I'd come home. I've been many times, and I've traveled all over the Balkans and to 35 countries around the world. So it's a great honor to have this role. And I have been an activist for peace for many years. I was elected coordinator of International Philosophers for Peace in Moscow in 1990, when before Eastern and Western Europe decided to go different directions. So I still hold the vision of peace that we made there. And I still believe that's possible. And that's why I like the Delphic Academy's work, because it's proved it's possible, as Christian will tell us shortly. So that's my introduction. Briefly, Christian, why don't you go next? Because you're the grandfather of the Delphic Games. Tell us in a nutshell, where are you dialing from? And what's your vision for the Delphic Games, please? And the Delphic Academy.
Well, thank you very much, Thomas, for having the opportunity now, under your invitation, to introduce the International Delphic Academy, which I had the privilege to found, to initiate in the development of the Delphic Games. I must admit, I never heard before until I came across a philosopher helping me to understand, the dean of the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. When I told him what I want to do to strengthen arts and culture with the Olympic Music Games, he just said, what you are doing and trying, this has nothing to do with Olympia. This is Delphi. And Delphi is my special item. I teach here at the university since tens of years. And the only thing I knew at that time was Oracle of Delphi and the Greek village. That was all I knew from Delphi, because my education was not so much studying the history, but the practical way of being close to arts by handicrafts. And so I learned the other side of the spiritual work. That means the handicraft, how you implement visions by handicrafts into a piece of art. And this is, let's say, all I can say at the very moment. This was about 40 years ago. And I start learning, because not knowing means you either remain in that status or you try to learn. And I became a swan. So I collected knowledge from Thomas' profession, from the arts, what it means to form metal, to design, to create the handicrafts you need to form artistic pieces, from the brush to the scissor, etc. Because our professors at that time, they said, if you don't know how to use your tools, how you want to create something new, so learn the basics and thereafter form your ideas. And that's all. And I walked my way and had the privilege to learn from Nelson Mandela, to learn from the Queen of Spain, being of Greek heritage in Spain. And so I had best teachers and was a very engaged listener. The outcome was the revival of the Delphic Games. And I know handicraft work is one thing, but to get the scientific background just completes the thinking. Without the background, you are lost. You just become a follower or you copy, but you cannot start creating things, think even history in a new way you never did before, because a lots of messages out of past centuries are missing nowadays and desperately needed to create our future. So you never outline, or you never should ignore the past to creating a future. And that's all I can say at the moment, and welcome you all.
Oh, thank you very much, Christian. Thank you. And Christian has sort of masterminded the revival, and they've had many international Delphic games. So we're here standing on his shoulders. Paris, why don't you introduce yourself briefly? You're going to be speaking properly in a minute, but tell us just in a nutshell your life career. Welcome.
Thank you. I study theater, dance, drawing. I teach in higher education drama schools for 50 years. I complete 50 years this September. And in universities in Athens, 36 and a half years. I teach show in MI programs in postgraduate studies of quality journalism and new technologies at European Communicator Institute, but I stay there only in my language again.
Yeah.
Don't turn my mind. With the Austrian University of Duke, with the Technical University of Athens Part Communication, when I teach my own part, training for quality communication or drama for dramatic for communicators or drama for journalism. The lector give some names in my part.
Yeah, no, I was impressed by your CV. It was very impressive. And you're involved with the World Philosophical Forum, aren't you, with my friend Igor Kondrashin?
I am a member of Ecumenical Delphic Union for 22 years, power member, because every summer, every June, we do there our performances in the museum of the house of Sikelianos, Angelos Sikelianos and Eva Palmer there, with the International Institute Isidora Duncan of New York, and the most times with the help of Harvard University, but only the part of the Hellenic Studies.
Yeah, yeah.
Center of Hellenic Studies. Yeah. I teach in sometimes for prisoners, sometimes for a child which have need. I like to do that, but in some periods of my life I cannot continue this, because after I cannot sleep at nights. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
I know. Teaching demands a lot from us, but I mean, you're an old professional, so I salute you. We'll hear from you shortly. We're going to give you the floor. Let's hear from Pyrrhus, if we may, next. Just introduce yourself. You're a fellow Athenian, Pyrrhus.
I'm a fellow Athenian, and I'm working at the moment as a care worker for unaccompanied minors, primarily from Egypt, but an African and a Pakistani as well. My background is heritage, but I have also worked in contemporary art, specifically screenwriters. I also do European projects. And don't forget the International Delphic Academy. We have made an application to the Erasmus program, which is about a teaching arts culture project, which, in a nutshell, I want to be brief, is about making teaching and learning an adventure through the arts and culture, and exploiting a new kind of curriculum. The Greek person who wrote the project, her name is Chrysoula Hardy. I don't know if my fellow Greeks know the name. If you know Chrysoula Hardy, she's a friend of Anafonso.
Yes, I know. And sorry, your family name, are you from Greece?
Spiros Merkouris.
The son of Spiros?
Yes.
I went, welcome. I meet with you in the house of Anagnostopoulou Street.
Okay.
I went there to your father and to Melina, the other house to Melina.
Okay.
Personal house of your father and the house of Melina a lot times.
Great.
So you've met before. Small world.
Do you know Chrysoula Hardy?
Yes.
You know Chrysoula? Well, there you go. Well,
Good.
hopefully we can all get together. The thing about Chrysoula, and I've said this before, is that she's a little paranoid. She's suffered from stealing of her work. So she hasn't shared her project. Well, anyway,
don't go on about that, Pyrrhus, because we're recording this meeting. So talking about paranoia, we don't want to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but she has a point. She has a point. I understand her. I mean, I know what it is to have your ideas stolen by others.
Sure.
And less worthy ones.
Well,
in September, let's hope in September we will get the result. And I feel that there is room for optimism. I think it's a fine application.
That would be great. Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome. Elif, can you introduce yourself? Welcome, madam.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Thomas, for inviting me. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you. My name is Elif Ergöz. I'm from Turkey. I live in Didim, where we have the Apollon Temple, and it is in the south west of Turkey, a little bit west south of Turkey. I'm so happy that I made it because I was driving for 500 kilometers to be at home, to be with you. And I'm so happy. I am a writer, a script writer, a book writer, and I'm dealing with spirituality with many aspects. I'm a channeler myself. I download some messages, so to say. And I have also made theater. I'm so happy to have you here for 15 years. I have played violin for 10 years, and I see art as a means of communicating and uplifting the frequency of the world, because I believe when we uplift the frequency of the world, like seventh dimension, you guys know it like the Christ consciousness level, then it will be automatically peace on earth, which we are, struggling with. So in a nutshell, that's me. Thank you very much for your precious time.
Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Elif. That's wonderful. And Apollo is the lord of your temple and also Delphi. So we are honored to have you with us. I've been to Didim. It's a wonderful temple.
I go there.
Inga Meta, do you want to introduce yourself from Norway? Welcome, madam.
Well, thank you. Let the energy of water and the deeper ecology of life bless you all. Nice to see you. I can see that we are 9 people on this call. My legacy of the Greek heritage comes from working with the Library of Alexandria in the revival of the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. So I've been the producer of a conference there in around year 2002, connected to a startup culture for young people, youth employment summit. And at the time, with this iconic building and the legacy of Alexander the Great and the deeper philosophy of the Greek diaspora since that time, I've been traveling to the oasis of Siwa multiple times, and I've been walking in the oracle of Ammon's footprints and footsteps and touching the temple of Ammon-Ra. And I've been working on the deep ecology of philosophy from the Norwegian Arne Næss. So this deeper cosmology of life on the blue planet is something that is deeply activated within me, and the fact that we as human beings, we are water, at least a little bit of water. I work also as a founder of the World Climate School, working with the youth and teachers training on an online platform, connecting me to many parts of on the planet, mostly on children, like primary education, but also on teachers. And I'm very much happy that Thomas and Kristen invited me to be part of the Startup for Peace culture initiative of the Delphic Academy, how we really can call for peace. So I'm here to listen and to learn and to fill my cup up and drink of the water of wisdom. So, and I'm also together with Christian on the Peace Gardens network, International Peace Gardens network. So I think networks on networks and the flow of the rivers to come to unity and in one direction. It's where I really hope and pray for. Yeah.
Right.
So.
We say in French, we say réseau. The network is a réseau in French, which sounds like a resource. It's the etymology is very interesting. Okay, Ekaterina, can you just introduce yourself briefly? We're honored to have you with us. You'll have to unmute, and then Sean and Ginger, just briefly. Yeah, greetings.
Have you spoken to me?
We can hear you, Ekaterina. Please tell us a brief bit about. You're a writer, I believe. Yeah.
I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to attend the International Delphic Academy Ideas Forum meeting today. My name is Ekaterini Vlachopanigiottou Batalia, and I currently serve as the president of International Society of Greek Writers and Artists. It was an honor to be part of such an inspiring gathering where timeless cultural values and contemporary ideas converge in meaningful dialogue. I have studied political science, economical philosophy, and I am a teacher in high school. And now I am the president to serve the culture, the values, and I believe to the mission of the International Delphi Academy to revive and promote the spirit of Delphi as a place of wisdom, dialogue, and intellectual understanding. Resonates deeply with the values we uphold today. I believe that entities like the International Delphi Academy are vital today as they foster not only intellectual exchange, but also ethical and cultural responsibility in an increasingly complex world. Once again, I want to say thank you for the invitation and for the warm welcome to me, to my person. I look forward to future collaborations and continued participation in the Academy's vision and activities. Thank you. With my best regards to all of you
Thank you.
today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. Welcome. And Sean, let's hear from Ireland now. Greetings.
Hello, Thomas and everyone. My name is Sean English, and I'm based here in Ireland. And my background is in the study of peace. And over the years, I've worked on a number of projects with Thomas and various organizations. And I just think the idea of the Delphic Games, that approach, there's so many different areas that we could approach the idea of peace in the modern world. But the idea of looking at something like the Delphic Games is such a creative idea. I really love being part of this project. So thanks very much, everyone. So I'm just here to listen, really, as well.
Great. And what's your hat? What's on the hat? I can't see it.
I'm sorry, I'm in a kind of a conservatory, and it's just a Lifeboat Institute. It's
I was going to say it looked like the lifeboats. RNLI. Yeah. All right. Well done. Yeah, we let's think of the Delphic Academy as a kind of lifeboat in choppy seas, trying to rescue people. Yeah. Ginger, you're joining us from Ecuador. Just briefly introduce yourself. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. And I'm just a retired businesswoman, volunteer, a learner, just geodesic gyroscoping the cosmos, trusting peace shall prevail in the cosmos.
And you're bringing us the energy of the Incas and the Andes. You're up there in the mountains. So thank you.
Well, the Cherokee on my mother's side, my great-great-grandmother was a Cherokee healer, and on my father's side, from County Meath, Ireland, Tara,
the Druid lands. Yeah.
Yes, the Stone of Destiny. Interesting. All right, darling.
We've all been to Tara. Yes. Bless you. Welcome, Ginger.
Thank
you. So look, everybody, welcome. I'm going to kick the meeting off with a few introductory words, if that's okay, and then I'm going to hand over to Paris. I'm going to just summarize, where we're at, I think, as the Delphic Academy. It's our last meeting this term, this academic year. And I just want to honor the memory of my late daughter, Sophia Craig Daffern, she was on our board. She was a delightful muse, really, a young woman in her 30s who was a musician, a poet, an ecologist, found mysteriously dead suddenly. And to me, that was symbolic of what we're up against. People in our world are not looking out for each other. And so I'm going to keep going with this vision. I'm just sad Sophie can't be here with us today. She would love to have met you all. She met quite a few of you. And so, the world is, as somebody said, increasingly unstable. Well, politicians don't seem to be able to break the logjam of ongoing wars. Hyperpolarization has become the norm, the normality of things. This is where I think the arts can help. This is where Delphi is so important. Self-knowledge, know thyself, and wisdom should be at the heart of the curriculum. The reason I'm interested in the Delphic Academy and supporting it and the vision of the Delphic Games is because we need to put that back in the curriculum. I've been a teacher for many years and an academic, and we teach about stuff. We teach kids, cram them with facts, with how to pass exams. What we don't do is teach them how to know themselves and to love themselves. There's a mental health epidemic going on among youth. Suicide rates are up. It's all, I think we have the antidote in the Delphic tradition. Know thyself. And Christ said he was like, to me, an initiate in the lineage of Delphi with his own Judeo-Christian Essene traditions. Not only know thyself, but love yourself and love your neighbor as yourself. These are the ethical roots of the Delphic tradition, which we need to put back at the heart of education. I've been listening to Plato's Laws, a book of his last years. And he starts it with the tragedy of warfare. Every state was fighting every other state, said Plato. And so what can we do about it? His whole work, as Paris is going to tell us shortly, was to use beauty, art, poetry, theatre, and philosophy to restore our sanity. And that's what we've got to do. How can we do that when truth seems to have flown away from discourse? Katharina said she'd studied political science. I've taught this, and so often politicians have taken to lying. And if you read Plato, I mean, he was addressing this problem over 2,300 years ago. Watching what the Israel versus Iran war that could have triggered World War III just recently. This was all a concoction of lies. We no longer know who is telling the truth. And it becomes really dangerous. We're living in a very dangerous world. So what I've been doing as coordinator of the Delphic Academy is trying to bring people together that are aware of all these problems and that are working on different aspects of solutions. I knew people that went to the first Delphic meetings, the Delphic Games, and I've been honored to, meet Christian and other colleagues from the Delphic movement. My own contribution is mainly as a philosopher and historian. So I've finished a number of commentaries on sacred texts. I've done a commentary on the Quran, the 6 Gospels, Plato's Timaeus, and the books of Enoch. These are all in process. I've finished a huge philosophical work called Being and Knowledge, which is a sequel to Being and Nothingness by Sartre. And I've been thinking a lot about Thanatos recently. In my commentary to St. Mark's Gospel, which was just finished yesterday, I explore the death instinct, Thanatos, which balances with libido, the life instinct. I think we've fallen in love with Thanatos as a planet. We need to analyze and understand the death instinct. And Sabina Spielrein, who coined the Thanatos complex, is a woman intellectual who knew both Freud and Jung. So I think analyzing that, I've tried to do that in my book, Being and Knowledge. I believe knowledge is the path out of here. That's the Ariadne's thread out of the labyrinth of suffering we're facing as a planet. We have to pursue knowledge. I want the Delphic Academy to be at the forefront of that. We have to link ethics with metaphysics. The quarrels and conflicts our political leaders are doing are just so puerile. People like Trump, Putin, Netanyahu, these people wouldn't make the first grade in a Delphic Academy. They haven't got the slightest clue about authentic ethics and metaphysics. We have to supply that even-handedly to all of them. One way we can do that is to reach out and create a Delphic Schools Charter. We have to get the schools of the planet. I've taught in brilliant schools across the UK to apply for an imprimatur from us as a Delphic school, that they agree they will teach ethics, they'll teach a joined up curriculum, they will teach the arts, they will teach culture and philosophy. And also a Delphic Universities Charter, because our universities are turning too much into business operations just to get students to come and pass exams. No, we want true universities like Delphi and like Plato's actual academy was, where it's the soul that is being educated, that wholeness at the heart of the curriculum. So I want our pupils, our students, to come out well-rounded, with the ability to join up all the aspects of knowledge and the curriculum. So that would be when you apply for a Delphic Universities Charter, you have to prove you're doing that to your students. I was fortunate to teach at the University of Oxford, and there we do, we try, but there are not enough of us doing that in academia. I want to also just flag up the incredibly good news, actually, because I'm speaking from Britain. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Starmer, who is a clever man, a lawyer, but a clever man, has finally said he's going to recognize Palestine as an independent state. A lot of us have been campaigning for this for a long time. Britain has a lot of karmic responsibility for the mess in the Middle East. We need to be even-handed. I set up the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the Middle East. I went to Israel, Palestine many times. Finally, politicians, in Britain are realizing they have to recognize Palestine, and we have to. I've come up with a project, which I've written an emergency broadcast about, to solve the Russia-Ukraine war and the Gaza-Israel war in one thing. And, I have many friends in Russia and Ukraine, and my heart goes out to them. They've got to stop this war. So I want an immediate ceasefire in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine. I want us as intellectuals, as writers, as poets and artists to campaign for that. And then I want both Russia and Ukraine to then join an international rescue flotilla going to Gaza. A flotilla of ships with aid, medicine, with food, with manpower. Like the D-Day landings. We need a kind of D-Day landing on the shores of Gaza. And it would be equipped and run by Turkey, by Canada, by France, by Britain. The US would probably join. Canada certainly will. And Ukraine and Russia. Can you imagine the optics of that? These nations that have been fighting suddenly down their weapons and say, actually, we've got a moral emergency on this planet. We should stop fighting. Nobody's going to win here. We're just killing each other. We're going to stop that. And we're going to go and help our brothers and sisters in Gaza because their babies are turning into sticks. This is about ethics and morality and policy. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. I'd like the Delphic Academy to get that message to all our colleagues and contacts around the world. We should also get the China involved, the EU, Norway, Brazil, the BRICS nations, Australia, and the Commonwealth, Pakistan, etc. Come on, it's not impossible. We can do this. Our mission as the Delphic Academy is to explain why we should do it. Because so many people don't realize ethics is a science. There's a morality here that we have to do this. It's not optional. We've been fooled by, nefarious people that muddle lies and pollute consciousness with cyber warfare. Our mission is to make cyber peace fair. So it's a big one, but let me just say, why is it important? Well, although we stand for the arts, we also have to feed people. And if nobody else is saying this, we have to be at the forefront. Let me finish with a little story told by a friend of mine, Cardinal Angelo Fernandez. He was the Archbishop of Delhi, and he was a Roman Catholic cardinal. I met him in Rome at a conference of world religions for peace back in the 90s. And we shared a long bus ride together. I was then the UK Secretary General of this conference. And he was an amazing man. He told me what Vatican II was like. He organized the third world component of Vatican II, right? And he said, Thomas, he was the head of the Catholic schools worldwide, which is like millions of schools all over the world, secondary and primary school. And he said, there's many parts of Africa where we have our schools, where the kids come to school and they haven't even had breakfast. They have nothing to eat in their homes. They will go home hungry and starving, maybe have one meal late. He said, so what I've done as head of the Catholic Schools Association is I've brought in free breakfasts in all our schools worldwide, in Latin America and all parts of Africa and everywhere. So the kids come to school, they have breakfast, and then they're ready to study. So the first hour of the day, we feed them, and then we educate them, and then they can do, learn their sums and literature and all that. So he taught me a lot. He's dead now, this man. He was a saint. What we have to do is, before we can go and do the arts with them and complex academic stuff, and we need to feed these kids and these people who are dying in Gaza and in other parts of the world. So that's where I see our mission as a peace mission. And we are, the olive branch for humanity. And it's incredibly important. We need to harness actors, poets, painters, dancers, writers, musicians. I think there's a huge potential clientele we can work with, and we need to harness them as the peacemakers of this planet. So thank you. Anyway, that's my introductory remarks. I hope that's of value. Any immediate comments, and then we can go on to Paris, or I hope you share my hope and optimism that it is possible and indeed necessary that we do this work. Alexander, welcome. You've just joined us from, I guess, are you in France, monsieur?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure
Hello.
to meet everyone. This
Do
is
introduce yourself, because
very-
we've all gone round and said who we are. Do welcome yourself to our meeting, and then we'll carry on.
hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you. I was, let's just say, drawn to the Delphic movement through the kind introduction of Inger Mette-Stenseth to Thomas, and hence to Christian and Waltrub in Berlin. I've worked as a impact investor and eco-activist for over 25 years. I have a Hollywood background and a tech and media background. I do consulting for family offices, and I am very ensconced in the AI technology space, and making sure that we bring in wonderful new strategic partners that have the capacity to not only help fund the Delphic Games, but also promote and fund what we are doing with the International Delphic Academy. That organization is called the Club of Florence. I will be happy to introduce you to one of the founders, that is a wonderful gentleman named Marco Di Girolamo. Our ambition is to make sure that we support arts and culture as the conduit to peaceful relations around the world. And I support Thomas in all of his activities, writing materials that are focused on interfaith healing and peace. And so I commend all of you for being on this call. It's certainly an honor to be amongst you. And I hope that we can propel this movement to the heights that it deserves, so that we are in company with the Olympic Games as the true twin sister, as we bring body and mind back together. Thank you very much.
Right, bless you. Thank you, Alexander. Okay, Paris, look, over to you, sir. We'd love to hear from you and your presentation now. I don't know if you have anything you want to share, but just go for it. Tell us your vision. Welcome.
Yes, okay. Apologize again to everybody for my pronunciation and my grammar. I begin from a hello to Miss Elif. Miss Elif, my grandmother, was from Mirefte. I was there 8 times, but I cannot find the house. I try, but everything changed. Do you know?
Maybe I can research for you. I don't know if I can help. It will be a pleasure for me.
Perhaps, but this is a magical place. A magical.
Yes, it is a magical place.
Hospitality. The professor of University of Ankara, Cevan Japan, and other friends there. With them, stay all the night and read Homerus and other poets of Greek until the morning. It was very good times in Turkey.
Yes, and I have to say I am also in love with Greece. My husband is half, so his grandparents are from Greece, and we frequently go there. I can say Efharistopoli and Parakolon, sound few. I love it, the other side of the water.
You have good power. You
Yes.
have very good quality of power.
Mm.
Thank you.
Efharistopoli.
You're welcome. It was the first part. Dr. Delphin, I congratulate you. I feel very, very good, very complete before to hear you. I congratulate you on your recent initiative for ceasefire and this path of humanitarian aid. So we cannot, my friends, we cannot speak about the light of Delphi without the light of Apollo. So I ask from you something. Let the minds be quiet, please. Let the minds be still. Let the feelings, let the emotions that always boil over in everybody calm down, please. And perhaps we can give one hymn to Apollo. We give back some respect and love and life and light to this very big Father, King of Light. Hymn to Apollo, invocation to Apollo. This is from 2nd century after Christ, of Mesomedes of Crete. You know this from the Olympic Games. Sacred silent. Let all the ether, the earth, the sea, and the breaths of the winds resound. Mountains and tempi, be silent. Sounds and voices of birds, cease. For Phoebus, the light-bearer king, is to accompany us. Apollo, God of the sun and the idea of light, send your rays and light the sacred torch for the Mother Gaia. And you, O Zeus, grant peace to all the people of the earth and crown the victors of the sacred race. And now I call the God, the one God, the Father of everybody and everyone, to give to us the light of his heart and power to can continue our lives, to can continue our try for a better world without
Genießen, ohne Geschwätz.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, professors and Dr. Thomas Daffern, yes, unfortunately, we live in absolute condition of terror and murderous barbarity. Barbarity, yes. The so-called law, some, which is, okay, the law of arbitrariness of the strong. The complicated organizations, or some of them, okay, and agencies are either solding or patronizing the powerful all the times. And the elected heads of state are now shaking hands mainly for the purchase and sell the weapons. this is the truth. In August 2025, after dozens and anxious sleepless nights about the wars that exist everywhere around us, but not around us, inside of us, inside in our minds, in our hearts, in our families, everywhere. I wrote the one act of the metrical ritual invocation to peace. I gave my performance in Greek language, of course, not to this way, of invocation to peace as part of the cultural program of the World Philosophical Forum last October. The translation of my work into English is ready, not from me, but now is it undergoing the third language editing. I try with one very kind professor of philosophical school together. In the fall, I will send it to you, Dr. Darfen, and if you like, can send to our friends and collaborators. Yes, I have already sent you the first in the World Flame Lighting Ceremony for the Intellect and the Arts, with accompanying ritual invocation to the Mother of the Muses, the great Mnemosyne, which I implemented at the Plato Academy, at the Academy of the greater teacher of all. The part one and the part second in Academy of Athens, because I wanted to do one strong bridge between the then and the now. Can you please, if you like, send to our friends and everywhere? It's free for me.
Yeah, Paris, what I'd like to do is play a clip from the video, just 4 minutes. At this point, I'll share my screen and I'll play that. It's very moving, the introduction. Is this a good time to do that? Okay. I'll try and play it, and you can you'll catch up what Paris has been doing.
Yes. Do you like this?
Actually, so give me a couple of minutes, and I'm going to put it on my screen. But I will send every clip. It's a
okay, can I continue my thinking and just you are
30 thing. I'm just playing it. With me. Watch it. Sorry about the delay. It's technology. Okay. Here it is. Okay. I'll send that clip to people.
Okay.
I'm there. There's a problem thing. I count. If I can know. Okay, I'll ship it later if at all. Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you. Keep going.
Okay. The video or me?
No, you, because the video there's a technical problem. I don't know why. It's okay. It didn't want to play. Apologies.
Thomas, you're frozen on video.
Okay, well, Okay, Paris, keep going.
Okay, my good friends, yes, 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 and yes. Someday, sometime, the goodness will prevail on our planet, will prevail in our hearts, will prevail in our minds, in our nations, everywhere. But until then, we have many debts as humanity, individually and collectively. So we try and wait and again try. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, I congratulate you on your enormous work in supporting and strengthening the very big qualities and ideas of Delphic fraternal ideology. Humanity is in urgent need of a new renaissance, seeded by the Delphic humanistic ideal. Delphi, the global headquarters, heart and lung of the new renaissance, welcomes and invites you and needs to all of us. Now, finally, I go to the proper protocol of my speech, second part. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, we all are one. Everybody and everything in this holy planet are one. We all are from the same divine, light, bright, illuminated essence. Light is our origin. Light is our legacy. Light is our destination. Light is our essence. My friends, we all are cells from the same vast, giant, intelligent, universal organism. When one cell hurts, everything else, everything, and everybody gets sick and hurts with it. That's how it should be. Not, but that's how it should be. And today, many of our cells, many of our sisters and brothers are sick and broken and dying. My friends, in this troubled and difficult time of the planet, let us work all together as one soul, but only through actions. Through actions, please. Not only with speeches, not only with meetings, not only with celebrations. We must do something as the friends of Dr. Darphin these days, because we looked the video with childs, thousands of childs being eaten and died. So let us work, please, as one soul for peace, for brotherhood of peoples, for equality, for freedom, for justice. Where is the justice? For love, for truth, for equal opportunities, and for a life of light for all our brothers in every corner of Sacred Mother Gaia, in every corner. All we are one. All we are the same. All these qualities, my friends, are the basic qualities of the Delphic idealists. All these qualities, and of course, the arts and culture, with crown it all the peace, must be the base of our lives. All these qualities I try to keep in my life with thousands and thousands performances and speeches and work for some people which are in need. For many years, Professor Darfen, because you asked that in your letter to me, I have been a permanent and very active member of the Ecumenical Delphic Union, and now also I am ambassador of it for the Delphic ideals, as well as a member of the Permanent Awards Committee. And also for many years, from 2009, just it born, president of the organizational committee and vice president of culture of the World Philosophical Forum. Every spring, my friends, every spring, because when we think the child,
sure, we cry. That's part of
every spring, and usually in the month of June, and around the 20th or 1st on 23rd of the month, when we have the summer solstice, and therefore the longest day of the year, since the Father, the Titan, the Hyperion, Father, Son, bathes the countries of the northern hemisphere with more light. We implement the Delphic festival in the sacred place of Delphi, always organized by Ecumenical Delphic Union with the Isidora Duncan International Institute of New York and with the continuous assistance of Harvard University. As this summer, Professor Darfen, when I shall go in Harvard, but in Washington, not in the base, in the Center of Hellenic Study, because we have 2 days holiday with these celebrations. In the Delphi, we offer musical, theatrical, and dance performances with the wonderful dance group of the Isidora Duncan International Institute, with the magical participation and that under the direction of its president, Mrs. Ginny Bresciani, and the active all the years participation and assistance of Mrs. Zoe Laffis, which is one of the direct in university there, but she is from Greek. She has blood of Greeks and work for all this. As for my part, my daily active participation is usually multi-layered with theatrical poetic speech performances, with dramatized poetic participations and recitation and ritual recitation of hymns and invocation or ritual invocations in ancient sacred places and temples, and workshops of all kinds: theater, speech, somatic theater, body theater, you know, after, of course, of months preparation of me. In Washington, because and for this you asked me, Dr. Darfen, in your interesting letter. In Washington, I will recite invocations and hymns to Apollo, to Mnemosyne, to the very, very great mother of the muses, the Mnemosyne, to peace, to the mother of our lives, the peace. I will recite and interpret dramatized poetry. I will perform a short performance, my performance, but short, do you know, only 2 days there. And I will begin with my greeting again in English. Second try in English, but I must keep that there because everybody English speak. Of course, I will also recite 2 of my major award-winning poems. I can send this for our friends. And I will begin the sections of some fellow speakers with my own interpretation and recitations. But mainly, the most interesting for me, I will also deliver specialized workshops, not a lot hours, about 1 hour, 1.5 hours perhaps, in dramatic art, in body theater. I believe then it shall be magic 2 days. Today, we are trying to rebirth, my friends, the Delphic idealists and their qualities, especially peace. But I say again, wars, and wars are raging next to us, are raging inside of us, are raging everywhere. Wars around us, wars within us. My friends, we co-create our lives. We co-create our lives. All together tonight, we are a huge energy bundle. Please, let us send forth, let us offer a wish and prayer for immediately peace, but also for those of our brothers who so darkly, so violently and unjustly lost their lives. And for those who are being tested, continue tested, without houses, foods, clothes, nothing, without helps. My friends, a few seconds are enough. In the upper ethereal fields, time is not measured as in our dimension. And let us begin, please, now. Now, please, with a moment of silence and wishes within ourselves for the coming of peace to us and for these brothers. Can you, Mr. Delphin, begin from now?
Sure, let's do a couple of minutes silence, please. And invoke peace in this world.
Let's go inside. Very good. Thank you for that, because we give some heart, we give some power of inside. May you, my friend, may you all be blessed. May we all be blessed. May we all be blessed, healthy and happy, with peace within us, with peace around us, with peace in our societies, with peace in our nations, with peace in every corner of Sacred Mother Gaia. Thank you again for the invitation and the honor, Professor. Be blessed. But before I close, I dedicate to you a poem by my beloved thinker, Nikiforos Vretakos. He is not in life yet, but he was a friend of mine. I had this honor in my life. Sorry. This is relevant to our topic. I will recite it in English and I will interpret it in my language. in Greek. The Purest Thing of Creation by Nikiforos Vretakos. I do not know, but there was no darkness left. The sun poured it into my body from thousands wounds, and this whiteness that surrounds you, you will not find it in the Alps either, because this wind turns around up there, and the snow gets dirty. And on the most white rose, you can find an idea of dust. An idea of dirty. You will find the perfect miracle only in man. Only you can find the perfect miracle only in man. White areas that truly radiate in the universe and excel. So the purest thing, my friends, the purest thing of creation is not the to light, nor the sky reflected in the river, nor the sun on the April blossoms. The purest thing of the creation is the love. The love. The love, our friends. The purest thing of the creation is the love. And now, in my language, okay, you try keep only 1 minute. Το πιο καθαρό πράγμα της δημιουργίας. Δεν ξέρω, μα δεν έμεινε καθόλου σκοτάδι. Ο ήλιος χύθηκε μέσα μου από χιλιάδες πληγές και τούτη τη λευκότητα που σε περιβάλλω δεν θα τη βρεις ούτε στις Άλπεις, γιατί αυτός ο αγέρας στριφογυρίζει μέχρι εκεί ψηλά και το χιόνι λερώνεται. Και στο πιο λευκό τριαντάφυλλο βρίσκεις μια ιδέα σκόνης. Το καθαρότερο πράγμα θα το βρεις μοναχά μες στον άνθρωπο. Μες στον άνθρωπο. Το καθαρότερο πράγμα θα το βρεις μοναχά μες στον άνθρωπο. Λευκές εκτάσεις που ακτινοβολούν αληθινά μες στο σύμπαν και υπερέχουν. Το πιο καθαρό πράγμα της δημιουργίας λοιπόν δεν είναι το λυκόφως, ούτε ο ουρανός που καθρεφτίζεται μέσα στο ποτάμι, ούτε ο ήλιος πάνω στη σμιλιά στα άνθη. Το πιο καθαρό πράγμα της δημιουργίας είναι η αγάπη. Η αγάπη. Είναι η αγάπη. Το πιο καθαρό πράγμα της δημιουργίας είναι η αγάπη. So, I wish for all of us, for all of you, for all of us, to choose in our lives to travel in the qualities of good, of truth, of justice, of peace and light, and of course, with love. With love, with every breath, with love in every step. Stay strong and continue. I love all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That was a wonderful sharing. And we can show our appreciation with an electronic clap. That's one of the beauties of Zoom. Thank you so much, Paris.
I thank you for the honor and apologize for my English. It's first time when I do that. Sorry, eh?
No, you were very articulate. We could understand. Any questions for Paris whilst we have him in our meeting? Now is the time. If you put your electronic hand up, any questions or comments, now's the time to do it. And then we're going to move on and hear from Ekaterini, I hope. Elif, go for it. You'll have to unmute to ask your question.
Thank you very much. I truly admired the way you download the frequency, and I'm in my tears. And I want to ask you, I thank you for that. I want to ask you about the sacred places activation, because there is an ether that needs to be activated. I do it sometime instinctively. I didn't learn it. I want to hear your way, how you do it, Paris, if you would like to share.
Look, there are some places, I don't know the words now. For example, the throne of Apollo.
Yes.
In one heat of the Parnassos, north side, when we go until one point with jeeps and after by foot, and there we do that a lot of times, and other times in the cave of Muses at Pan. In the other high top side of Parnassos, when we went in the first part of the path with some cars and after by feet and with help of some woods. And other places is the churches, is very sacred places. For example, before 2 years, I went the North Italian, where the ancient Greek, my grandfathers have some towns there, in a lot of churches. I can send you one text. I can send to Dr. Thomas Darfen. I sent it to Dr. Thomas Darfen, one text, and you can translate in your language, everybody. Because it shall be better from me now, of course. I can send it, and from Delphi and from North Italia. I find the text in Word and send you, and send material for that. We can find sacred places everywhere. The sacred places, my lovely Elif, is inside us.
Sure.
Here is the God.
Sure. Thank you.
I wrote one book for metaphysics, paranormal phenomena. It's 522 pages. It translates in English language now in America, but Amazon stopped because finished the contact with my publisher in Liverpool. I don't know what shall be. This is about esoteric way. Everything is sacred.
Well, send me a PDF or a link to it, and I can tell people about it.
I send you parts.
Yeah, do. Because Elif is very much into esoteric philosophy. We are, as an academy, we all are. But we need to get the esoteric and the exoteric in dialogue. We have to bring the wisdom into the everyday, the schools, universities.
Yes, Professor, I am in this path for very
many years.
a lot my lives before.
Sure. Good. Any other questions to Paris, because he's a fount of wisdom? Inga Mehta, you had your hand up.
Yes.
Would you like to ask your question? And we'll come to you a bit later for a proper, like you can share your screen and all that in a minute.
I think I'd like to wait then.
Yeah.
I'd like to wait.
Okay, well, we'll come to you in a minute. But
No, I'll wait.
okay, fine. Anyone else ready to ask Paris anything? Sean, from the Irish perspective, we've been meeting a bard, haven't we?
Yes, thank you very much for such a comprehensive. I'm kind of not sure how to question anything that you said there. So thank you again for your contribution. Amazing.
You're
Yeah.
very kind. You're very generous, Professor. Because and your name is English, and my English is terrible.
Yes. I changed my mind, Thomas, for a question.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Paris, you mentioned the midsummer nights, or the when the sun is turning, and the ritual of the divine Delphic and the divine flow within us to activate with the rays of the sun. Could you please share more about that, just a little bit, from your wisdom?
Yes, I try. Look, in all my life, I believe that we must come here for a very serious reason. Every people, every animal, everything, every corner is very important for the story of the life of the planet. We must give the better all the time, all the moment. We must do that. Give the better for everybody with our speeches, with our thinking. Here is the magic place. We think, we so create with the Father of the sky our lives and the life of our brothers. We must care for our thinking every moment, because every thinking, very small, very big, go and meet other thinkings with the same vibration of all the planet in every corner, and do together one very big power for the change the life. So I try to stay in positive seat on my life and try to give meaning to the things. I had before, Mrs. Inger, Professor, I have before a lot of years, about 30 years of wars with the level which we can see and the level which we can not see with other powers. This is from past lives. And perhaps I give my promise and I say, okay, before I come in this very interesting school of Sacred Mother Gaia. I say okay to the teachers on the upper level, because I say okay because perhaps I was very, very stupid there, and say then I shall be very strong here. But when we dress this body, understand that you cannot do everything, and you are not very strong. I understand that. But the God help, and the angels and all the levels to go out of this war and now teach other brothers for the light. In about 26 years, I was in some companies of esotericism without money, all that I like to do, about the esoteric to be better the hair, every self. Do you know? I lost a lot of words because when I feel something, I feel things as before half hour about the children, perhaps I lost. And my speech in my language, this is not usually, but in other languages, very difficult, because first time I do that, because destroy my picture for academia soul. But never.
Well, you've done very well. I'm sorry we don't all speak Greek. I think we should have some in-house Greek language classes for our academy. I had a couple of questions for you, Paris. One of the things I want to do as coordinator of the Delphic Academy is do a lot of very in-depth research on the original Delphic games. I want to research the history of Delphi, and I'm particularly interested in the participation in Delphi of some of the great thinkers. Like, do we know if Plato was ever at the Delphic Games? Do we have any records? Do we know if Pythagoras was around at the time of the Delphic Games? You know, I'd like to find out with your help. We do know that Aristotle was invited to the Delphic Academy, as it then was, after a fire. There was a terrible fire and all their records were destroyed. And they asked Aristotle to come and see what he could find. But I haven't been able to discover anywhere in Aristotle's writings what he found. So that's something concrete I'd like the Delphic Academy to do, to work with academicians in Greece, in Athens, in Delphi. I know you're friends with Tsopoulos and people like this who have that knowledge. So that's a very concrete thing that I'd like to, you know, work with you on. And then there's another thing I had, another idea for the Delphic Academy. When I went to Turkey, I went to Troy. I don't know if you've been to Troy yourself. I sat there. It's an archaeological dig. It overlooks Gallipoli. It's an extraordinary site. For those of you that haven't been to Troy, I'm sure that Elif has. And I had this kind of download. I wrote a poem because I'm a poet, right? I had a download that we ought to organize a peace conference at Troy, because it represents the first huge conflict between Europe and Asia. Troy was an Asian city dedicated to the goddess, Aphrodite, whatever. And it was to do with the Hittite culture, etc. The Greeks were coming from Europe, and ever since Europe and Asia have been at war, I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to have a peace conference at Troy and have people come from everywhere in Asia, you know, China, India, all Turkey, all Asian countries, and all from Europe, like all the different 35 nations of Europe or whatever, from Finland to, you know, Portugal, and have a peace conference and address this. Why do Europe and Asia have to keep fighting? Why can't they make peace? So it's just a practical proposal. Don't you think we could do this? I mean, we don't have to make it big, because you, like me, believe in symbolic actions. As a theatre person, you know, if we have 10 Asian countries and 10 European countries make symbolic peace and apologize to each other, I think that would have a ripple out effect. And if we did that because you see, Apollo was the god of Troy as well. He was on their side. Anyway, what do you think of that idea? Have you had the same idea, Paris?
Professor, look, all this is very, very, very big and very important and very deep. And my understanding of English is not enough. So I say, please do that in a text. Because I don't like to lose either one sentences, either one word. I must think about that and work about that. But first, I must say to everybody of you, good afternoon. The love and the respect of the president of the Ecumenical Delphic Union of Delphi, Mr. Panagiotis Kaltsis, which work in this plan before the the birthday of his, because his father from there and work from that and bring there a lot people. But look, the meeting in Delphi is only now for money. Only the economic forum give money. Us, nobody give. every year to go rent, for example, the Free Nikos Theater, because this theater want some money. We do everything only is Sikelianos house, which is now museum of new new age of Delphic period. Do you know that all the power now is the money, in this of money and the war and the all these stupid things which destroy the planet and our lives, which kill all these brothers of us. So please send me one small letter when you can, when you have the time, because you must stay in this text and work with this, and I don't like of you lost something, some part.
Okay, now I'll send it to you in English and Greek. I'll translate it for you.
English.
No problem. Okay, anyone else? If not, let's move on to our next speaker and thank Paris again for your wisdom. Awesome stuff. Now let's ask Ekaterini if you'd like to say a few words about your work with writers in the Greek diaspora, I believe, and the Greek community. If you're able to unmute, that would be great. Maybe she's popped out for a minute.
No, she has her husband very serious ill with problem here. She has a nurse in house, but perhaps something matter in the next room and run there.
Okay, well, we'll wait for her to come back. No problem. Inga Meta, I'll make the screen sharing possible. If you would like to go next,
will do.
Let me make your screen come alive here.
Yes. So my small sharing will be an invitation to ideas that merge into eternity as dust. So I'm going to, and I think, thank you for the presentation and thank you for keeping the silence. So my idea is about silence. And some of you have seen this presentation before, but it's evolving. And after this meeting, I can, with your input and our spiritual input, we'll make it even better. So here it goes. Wait, here it goes. Yeah. So it is the seed of silence for inner peace. And I think that the seed is the entelechy in every human being. So the idea is to launch civic perspectives and learning on the nature of peace. And it takes the idea from a living public sculpture and a stage, or not a stage, a small park close to the main river in Oslo. So this is the element of water running through the city of Oslo into the fjord. And the office and the initiative is launched by the House of Consciousness in Oslo. And I like to have that the flow and the energy of goodness and kindness likes to burst from all of us in a divine force of love. So in this Delphic Academy and in this startup for peace, as part of igniting many places at the same time, an everyday longing for peace. And I'm trying to, in this presentation, to connect to the deep ecology movement and the oikos of humanity in this entelechy of silence. So let's break it open in this river, in a cosmology of life. Finding a new path in the noosphere around the planet, in the ethos. So in this eternal dance of life beyond our own lives, and in this noble art to form beautiful ripples, like in the ocean, in a storm and a breeze, and that where the stars will guide us towards a cosmology greater than ourselves. In this ignited spirit, I'm inviting to merge our good intention of ideas to make it practical and down to earth into schools and educational systems in the everyday understanding of the imperative to redefine dialogues on peace and war. And as this symbolic river in Oslo that flows through the fjord and water through any rivers, to any city, let's come together as human beings in a kinship and a dialogue. So this is the ritual of the water we did in April. In the blessing and planting that's in seed. So here you see the behind this symbolic mathematical shape, you see the circular flatland of the circle that is crossing into the main city from the east and western part of Oslo, and where we're having the idea of the agora to make it into a wooden structure going all the way up to 17 meters tall in a mathematical shape. And this we did in Paris last year, and we call it the Larmes de Midas, the King Midas tears. So this was done inside the Grand Palais in Paris, as you see the building here. And inside the building, there was 2 different conference halls having the conversation, the symposium on architecture and well-being, and how the cities will be transforming into an ecological civilization that we know is possible. We know we can do better than the paradigm of war that is flashing around our ankles and around the planet. There's so many beautiful things coming up and grow, longing to grow, like grassroots everywhere, talking the language of love. So here you see the amazing book in the middle here, the 99 Words of Peace. Thomas can explain more about it. He is the amazing writer connecting 2 volumes with 99 words of peace. So this is the small seed, the idea of the start of for peace and the Delphic game, how we can ignite that, the peace narrative in our cities. It's a couple of, so this is my friends, the architects behind those constructional art zone, talking about how we can have an agora for everyday cultural peace. And Oslo with the Nobel Peace Institute and the Nobel Art of Creating Peace. But let's ask, how is it, Norway, about the inner peace and the seed of silence for a world peace? So this is the seed of silence for world peace as a living sculpture in a public space, a park, outside by the river in Oslo. So we're asking, how is your inner peace, Norway? How can we ignite a global peace culture and in the language of love and kindness? I'm putting here the Norwegian Tai Chi Center, and I'm doing it because we have been working with the Norwegian Tai Chi Center and the Chinese diaspora and wisdom, having the Tai Chi in public spaces on the rooftop of the library of the Opera House in Oslo. And this is the way the agora and the theater and the artists and the cultural people of ordinary spirit of joy can come together and reignite even democracy in a new way, where we integrate arts and culture. So this is the call for the Delphic spirit to rise. Let us unite for our Delphic Games, and to where artists raise and call for peace in a new theater forum, in a new understanding of democracy. So that is where I am calling for the dolphins to activate itself in our effort to help the divine spirit of creativity and courage to join our forces towards the ocean of the blue planet. So that's the story of the small seed of silence for inner peace as a living sculpture that we are working with the team in Paris and the Grand Palais to be launched in February in France, but also to be ignited in Oslo. And we're looking at the date, the 21st of September, to launch this idea from Oslo at the House of Consciousness. That's my words at this point. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Inga Mette. That was very beautifully shared. And it built very much on what Paris had been saying. And for those that aren't aware, the Delphic Academy and the Delphic Games has the motif of water, whereas the Olympic Games has fire. This was chosen by Christian right at the beginning with great wisdom. I'd like to we're coming towards the end of our meeting, and I wanted to just spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then maybe Ekaterina can join us and say her words of wisdom. But the question of the 6 art categories, this is our last meeting before the summer break, and I just, for those that aren't familiar with them, I want to run through these and make a few comments on them. What's unique about the Delphic Games, we're thanks to Christian and the visionaries that created it, we have these 6 categories, and 2 of them are modern categories. So the arts of modern times include social arts and communications, which is unusual, and no other competition worldwide is really focusing on including that. Now, this includes, I would propose, things that have come up recently, things like the internet, websites, is an art form and should be celebrated as such. It's a new art form. That includes all the online interactive games that people do. It's a huge industry, online gaming. We should give a prize in the social arts and communication category to the best peace games. At the moment, a lot of these online games are war games. You shoot things, you blow them up. Who is making peace games, like adventure games, where you find the Holy Grail and save the city? There are people doing that. We should honor them in this art category. Very creative people are doing that. Probably, Alexander knows some of them. Then we'd also include here entertainment, which is a new social thing. The internet has become a huge entertainment forum. And of course, film, because film is really a social art. You go to the cinema with friends, you enjoy it, actors come together. So this is a new art form. It didn't exist in the Delphic Games originally, but this is where I think it sits in our art categories. And that includes both narrative films, but also documentaries, which is a huge multi-million, pound activity and doing some amazing work. There are tremendous documentaries out there at film festivals. Well, we should be researching them and inviting them to submit in the next Delphic Games in this category. And then, of course, apps. Everyone likes apps. Well, they're an art form at their best. and we should be celebrating them, you know. And it gives all these creative designers who are making these social art forms a place to come and celebrate their work and be, you know, be esteemed, to wear the laurel wreath. And then we have another art of modern times, which Christian developed, visionary. I mean, the man must be a prophet. He said, let's have ecological arts and architecture. And this was from, you know, a couple of decades ago. And now, of course, this would include all the ecological art forms that are multi-genre. Things like Andy Garby is doing, like recording water in underground rivers and et cetera, et cetera. There's tremendous work going on ecological art. And that would include also gardens, which are a kind of art form in themselves, like the gardens of Versailles. But there are modern gardens coming into being with ecological themes, parks, landscaping. That's that category. And you mentioned dolphins. So, you know, dolphins are probably, I mean, they could probably compete in their own pods doing, I don't know, dancing and doing their own art forms. I think, why not? This is where animals could compete, not in a circus form, but just in themselves and enjoying it. I think enough research shows that animals appreciate beauty and they love, I mean, think of the way that starlings make these incredible patterns in the sky. It's like an art form. So that would be there in that category. And then we have the genre called musical arts and sounds. Obviously, everything, song, every genre of music. But people are now making modern music. There are new types of music coming into being using technology and visionary music. My daughter was particularly interested in this. So it's combining like world music, you know, traditional drumming and wind and so on, but with visionary types of sound, and also exploring sonic landscapes that, I mean, somebody's even recorded the planets. These planets we're on, like this one, Gaia, we make our own sound. And that's what Pythagoras said all those years ago. He was ahead of the curve. He said the planets, the music of the spheres. Well, if somebody's recording that stuff, and they are, this is where they would come and present, and they would win the category if they can record, you know, the sequence of planetary sounds. And then there's exoplanets. Soon, 100 years, 200 years from now, they'll be able to record the sounds of other planets, exoplanets. They're discovering new ones all the time. And then there's performing arts, which is another category. Now, this, as far as I'm aware, includes obviously theatre. It includes dance. It includes acrobatics. So all the shapes that people make, they're art forms, including underwater. You have these amazing swimmers doing acrobatic type things underwater. That's part of the Olympic Games. Or we can pinch that for the Delphic Games. We need to say, hey, we're water. That's ours. And then there's language arts and rhetoric, which is kind of my thing. This is poetry, writing, literature, but also history. Historical writing is an art form. I mean, I'm a historian. I love writing history. I love reading it. I'm always reading about 10 books at once. And I appreciate the prose style. So we should give the best history book of the Games Award. And also philosophy, which is an art form. I mean, you can't read Plato and not admire the man's style, his humor, his irony. This is an art form. I mean, if he was around, we'd give him a prize, but we can encourage the young writers, the young philosophers who are producing philosophy as an art form. And it includes obviously rhetoric, which is speaking, oral performance. So we should have, you know, lectures, rhetorical ability honored. And I think this is where political debate comes in. We should have like a debating contest between the right, the left, the green, the whatever. let's convert all this madness of political hyper-polarization into an art form. Let them come and make their crazy MAGA claims as a rhetorical thing, and let them be opposed by, you know, a more rational, intellectual response. And let's get this up to the level of art, because that is what political science should be. We've forgotten that. We've turned it into whatever the opposite of art. I once was in Thessalonica with a friend. I wrote a poem called The Anti-Muse. I got this idea, this download, just as there's Christ and the Antichrist. So I saw, well, God, we've got muses, but we've got the anti-muse coming, which is the hater of beauty, the hater of culture, and the hater of wisdom. So that's what we're up against, the anti-muse. So we need to get our act together. And this would also celebrate books as art forms and publishing. And Inga Mehta kindly mentioned my book, The 99 Names of Peace, it's called. And it was inspired by my daughter, the late Sophia Craig Daffan. I did 99 languages with her blessing. We selected out 99 key languages. Greek is one, Arabic, Hebrew, Sanskrit, Irish, Gaelic, Albanian, you know, every key language, but also including Phoenician, ancient Egyptian, Babylonian, Akkadian, and so on. And then we looked at the key words for peace, reconciliation, truth, justice, God, love in those languages. So it's, on the one hand, it's a dictionary. And then on the other, I married each language up with a relevant project. And those projects are like, they're the blueprint for saving this planet. If we only did 10 of them, I reckon we can save this planet. So I will send anyone that wants a free PDF copy of these 2 volumes, and please look at them. You know, it was an amazing visionary work. And just one of the 99 is the International Delphic Academy. So they're all of that caliber. And I want to realize these in my lifetime. I'm not going to die for a while. I need your help. One of them, I mean, this is the language arts, is the question of the oracular place. One of the visions I have, Paris, and I mention it in the text, is, isn't it time to revive the Delphic Oracle? Don't our leaders need some help, some advice? If we, during the Delphic Games, during the 2 weeks of each time it's on, we should have an oracle in residence in Delphi who would be trained, and we have some people who've done training in the oracular arts to like give some downloaded advice to these crazy politicians. It's just a thought, and that to me is a special form of language. They were given in poetry, cryptically, and it's possible we should reactivate the Delphic Oracle, and the one in Siwa, and the one in Stonehenge. You know, in the Druid world, we do oracles too. And then lastly, we come to the visual arts, the 6th category, visual arts and handicrafts. I mean, you know, I live near where Leonardo da Vinci died and is buried in Amboise in France. I'm a great lover of the visuality of beauty. Now, this would include painting, sculpture, but also costume. And I know Inga Mehta knows a lot about the costume and fashion industry. So it would include these people creating beauty in clothing and fashion. And by extension, that includes makeup, which is another art form, actually. I've spoken to people that do makeup for actors. You know, it's an art form. It's incredible. So that category, the visual arts and handicrafts. Now, that's our remit, people. That's our 6 art categories. I'm excited about this. You know, let's get out there. And my vision was this is why I want to work through education. I want to contact the schools where people train in all these art categories, like the Royal Academy of Music or the Royal Academy of Dance or the New York, you know, Ballet School. Tell them about the existence of the Delphic Games, get them to become a patron or like join us, so they then inform their students. So people training at the best artistic academy training schools on the planet hear about us, we've got some information we can circulate, and they get excited. They think, God, I didn't know that existed. Delphic Games. Yeah, I want to compete in that when I'm a world famous ballerina or whatever musician. So, you know, that's why we reach out to the educational academies of the different art forms. Okay, Inga Meta, yes, your hand up, madam.
Yes.
Go for it.
My question is to help you to ignite another spark. And first mentioned Northern Italy. And the other day when we were in a call with Kristen and you talked about the Florence as the city of Renaissance and the Renaissance 3.0 when the new humanity arise.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? And I think it will be interesting too, because you picked up something here. Mm.
I mean, I'm just a fan of Florence. I've watched I studied Renaissance history as part of my degree at the University of London. I've been to Florence. I'm in love with the Medici. I had an idea we should create the Medici network of bankers who now want to sponsor the arts. This is a ball I'm throwing at Alexander, because, you know, where are the Medicis of today, the millionaires that actually want to donate to the arts? I'm glad he's in touch with the Academy, what's it called, the Club of Florence. Yeah, well, let's get a network of Medici type sponsors, because, you know, artists need to eat too, and even poets can't live on air. I've tried. So, and maybe we should have the European Delphic Games in Florence as an homage to its beauty and its sagacity. I would certainly vote for that. But okay, any other questions to the 6 art categories or comments?
Alexander.
Yeah.
Yes, I just want to comment on the Medici relationship to what we're discussing. So I'm friends with a man named Lorenzo de' Medici, who is a direct descendant, and I'm wooing him to become a member of the Club of Florence. And the Club of Florence has very illustrious people that have gravitated towards it, but they are looking for other luminaries to join the coalition, so to speak, which will be very much in cahoots, if I can use that term, with us, so that we cultivate a brain trust that can be global and that makes sure that the financing of particular projects is done methodically and with great reverence to the social impact that those projects bring. So I will be focused on that particular subject, making sure that a new type of merchant bank, if you will be able to promote or to support is the proper word, various projects that will of course be vetted, because it won't be, you know, thrown around. Money doesn't get thrown around. So it will be up to our committee to vet projects that merit this type of financial support.
Okay, then we could give it the Ida imprimatur, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes, this is a good project. Please fund this and so on. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
The idea of the Medicis and the Renaissance for humanity to rise again, you know, the amusement parks, the Delphic game, as Christian is also underlining, is not only to amuse us, to entertain us. The creative cultural industry is a big industry that is, it's the fashion, it's the food, it's the media, it's a mosaic of life essence of creativity in the cultural creative industries. So it's not only that artists should be like pray and beg for money as a donation, but it should be activated as a living culture somehow. So we
sure.
of this world.
If Walt Disney was alive, I'm sure he would be fascinated to join us because he was a visionary. He invented the amusement park to some extent, and he used art to like educate. I've just seen a film about his life. Fascinating stuff. Roz, are you there? Do you want to introduce yourself? You're in hiding in darkness. Anyone else? We're about to shut in a minute.
Yeah, I want to have a. Can I say a
Paris,
few
go for
things?
it. Yeah.
I don't know about my camera. Can you see me at all?
We can. You're pixelated like
Right.
a Monet painting, but we can still see you.
All right then. My advice. A lot of things have been said. Inga Mehta mentioned is doing this work on silence. You mentioned Troy. Maybe it would be a good idea if the IDA used the Iliad, ancient Greek myths and things like that as a terms of reference in all we do. You were talking about Troy and about these conflicts between and about looking towards peace. Well, frankly, the Iliad is the most bloodthirsty book I have ever read.
Of course.
It's written by killers. However, in the middle of the book, you've got that piece where Hector talks to Andromache, where basically the message there is that all this warfare is rubbish. So it's a good idea, but you've got to mull over it. In terms of silence,
there's a slight problem with your
friend
screen.
with him throughout, not Electra, his sister. He has a friend who never says a word in the entire play. He remains silent, and his silence represents friendship and loyalty. It's
Which play is that, Paris?
The Orestiada. The Orestiada. The Orestia.
Okay.
I get my Greek. So there is a lot going on there, and sometimes it would be an interesting thing to just focus in these early days on those ancient Greek myths and legends and see how they all connect with Delphi. Because everything that you've been saying about peace and about dealing with war, it's all there. Racism. In the Odyssey, the first page of the Odyssey is a eulogy to Ethiopia. So you can deal with you can use the Odyssey as an instrument there. In gender, again, you go back to Troy. If you read the play, Women of Troy, that deals with slavery. And again, the consequences of war and how it's all awful. So it's all there. So you can use, so if we get this project going with the Erasmus, we can refer to the ancient Greek thing and we can do that as a contribution. Just saying. And you can look at the project on silence. So Inga Mehta is doing that work on silence, explore silence and see how far that would, obviously talking is important as well. I'm not being silent.
Well, silence and talking, they're interconnected.
And then you can link all of that. So you can take Trojan women, look at the effects on that on the wars that are happening in Gaza, in Syria, in Ukraine, and see the effects of war on women.
Quite.
You have the gender element. All right, I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the whole classics field, Paris is going off to Harvard to meet the Harvard Center for Hellenic Studies. I mean, there's a thriving classics community.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there, isn't it? And if we
need to get them excited to get involved with Eden. That's my mission, is to reach out to them with your help. So that's brilliant that you raised that.
Yes, my energy of creativity is very open. I was organizing at COP26 in Glasgow. Alexander was also there at the student union. And it was the student union of Alexandrian Union in Glasgow. And I also learned at that time that Nelson Mandela has a house in Glasgow. And I'm saying this because the Nelson Mandela is also in the Delphic Games. He's been part of the patronage and ambassador that Christian has met. So this thing about connecting into universities, that is your big thing, Thomas, and really how we can work with the Library Alexandria. When I was producing the student activities for the opening of the Library Alexandria, and it was also the start of this entrepreneurial youth employment summit that went for 10 years. I organized the workshop groups and the open dialogue spaces according to the philosophers that was related, the Greek historical philosophers that was related to the Bibliotheca Alexandrina and the history and the legacy of 300 BC, approximate, with the Ptolemaic structures in Siwa. So that we have so much to start and do, and it's like you say, let us start, and also there is a community that I'm working called Artists Across Borders, Imagine Action. It's to actualize, and they are theater people, and they are online facilitators on Zoom meetings, and with forum theater, with pre-sensing theater, with legislative theater. So you have like legislative theater in solving problems in cities. But I really think that, and you probably all of you have had the feeling when you sit around the family table and there's a fight, and you know that if you say this word, it will be bad. If you say this one, everything is bad. And if you turn into silence, then someone will scream, "Please talk," say something. So this thing about the inner silence, how we can cultivate that as poetry or wisdom, because when we start saying something in the heat of discussions, it will be bad words. They were most of the time, even beautiful, nice words will be misunderstood in the heat of discussions. So the seed of silence, and this word, the Jean Houston, and the entelechy, the seed, the existential right of human beings to grow to its potential. I think we can touch that entelechy of planting seeds. That's my place.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, this is a very rich meeting, and I'd love to. Katerina, do you want to say a few words in closing before we finish? You've listened to us. How do things look from Athens in your mind?
I want to express my congratulations to all of you, and Paris Katsivelos is a very distinguished personality. To thank you, Inger, to you and for the hospitality today. And I hope that we can continue all together to build a cultural sanctuary in which the muses may once again inspire global understanding and sacred dialogue. May the Delphic flame burn bright. Thank you very much for the meeting today. And I'm very glad that I know all of you for this struggle and for this tries.
Thank you very much, Katerina.
We have, as Society of Greek Writers and Artists, we have the year 2022 on the day 21 September, the day of peace. we have a very great festival at Delphos for peace. Has come from all over the world, and we have communication with video with Mexico, India, Tunisia, Center of Hellenic of Russia, and all of the parts of the Greece representative. It's a very great, and the Paris Katsivelos bright the with a nectar.
Right. Well, if you have some footage you can share of that event, that sounds like a wonderful event. If you have any films recorded.
Yes,
so thank you.
have films. I can send you. We'll prepare a book with peace, with poem only with peace, and all our activities.
Well, that's wonderful what you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Participate in this book.
Yeah, send it.
If you're interested for this.
Yes,
please.
yes. And you know, again, the Library Alexandria and the International Library Association, in a united partnership with us, we can get all those publications distributed to public libraries. You know.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the 99 Names of Peace projects, is the idea of a peace library in each national library, like in Athens and London.
Yes.
Okay, look, I think it's time. I'm going to finish, if you don't mind, with a poem. Going to give the last word to the muse. And this is a poem by a very good British poet called Carol Ann Duffy. Some of you may have heard of her. She's one of Britain's leading poets. And this is a book of poems called Earth Prayers. They're all about the theme of the emergency facing the earth, the eco-catastrophe we're coming towards. And it was in my daughter's library. When she died, I went to Brighton and gathered up her precious books, and I brought them back to my center in France, where I run the Musée des Muses. And I think Paris will appreciate this. It's dedicated to the 9 muses. It's the only museum of the muses on the planet. It has 9 big rooms, plus Apollo, and each room contains the books relevant to that muse. So the room Urania has all the science books, mathematics, medicine. Erato has psychology and philosophy, love, etc., etc. And Thalia houses literature and poetry. So any of you are welcome to visit. Some of you have already come. This is a poem called Parliament. And I think it's a really good poem to end with. And it's from Sophia's library. Then, in the writer's wood, every bird with a name in the world crowded the leafless trees, took its turn to whistle or croak. An owl grieved in an oak. A magpie mocked. A rook cursed from a sycamore. The cormorant spoke. Stinking seas, below ill winds, nothing swims. A vast plastic soup, 1,000 miles wide as long, of petroleum crap. A bird of paradise wept in a willow. The jewel of a hummingbird shrilled on the air. A stork shawled itself like a widow. The gull said, where coral was red, now white, dead, under stunned waters. The language of fish cut out at the root, mute oceans, oil like a gag on the Gulf of Mexico. A woodpecker heckled, a vulture picked at its own breast, thrice from the cockerel as per. The macaw squawked. Nouns, I know, rain, forest, fire, ash, chainsaw, cattle, cocaine, cash, squatters, ranchers, loggers, looters, barons, shooters. A hawk swore. A nightingale opened its throat in a garbled quote. A worm turned in the blackbird's beak. This from the crane. What I saw, slow thaw in permafrost, broken terrain of mud and lakes, peat broth, seepage, melt, methane breath. A bat hung like a suicide. Only a rasp of wings from the raven. A heron was stoned. A robin, blood in the written wood. So snow and darkness slowly fell. The eagle, history in silhouette, with the golden plover and the albatross, telling of Arctic ice as the cold, hard moon carved from the earth. Maybe we can get her to come to the Delphic Games and compete in the poetry section. And that's my mission. Like the Druga Poetry Festival in North Macedonia, which I've been at several times. So look, bless you all. Big hug from England. And sorry that the English girls won the football, but it shows that sport is also important. And we can have some sporting events in the Delphic Games like they used to do in the ancient world. It would get the kids excited. And I'm very proud of the English footballers. They were brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Next time your teams can win. So thank you.
Thomas, I know you're saying thank you, but Pyrrhus wanted to say a small thing before
Oh,
you.
has he got
No,
his
I'm
hand
all
up?
right. I'm okay.
Why
I'm
not?
okay. I'm all right.
Someone wanted to say something? Yes.
Well, we can always be in touch by email. You've got my invites. You know my email. I'm 24/7 on the job. I'm the coordinator of the Delphic Games, the Delphic Academy, sorry. But we are helping the Delphic Games. And yeah, let's pull this off, people, because it's a question of, as Paris said, it's either civilization, culture, and the arts, or it's barbarism and untruth. And that, I'm going to send you all, when I finish this call, I'm going to send you all Paris's amazing video, which is on YouTube, of him lighting the flame at a ceremony re-invoking Mnemosyne, who's the mother of the muses. And it's a very powerful, thing he's done. So let's all be loyal to that lineage that he's represented today on this call. And let's take it forward into its new iterations. So thank you. And thank you again to Christian for getting the whole thing going, and to everyone else.
Sorry,
Okay.
may I say something, Professor?
Please, closing words, yes.
Oh, sorry for the interrupting. Katerina, perhaps you forgot that the title of our meeting in Delphi at 2022 was the first Olympiad for Peace. Ήταν η πρώτη Ολυμπιάδα Ειρήνης, the first Olympiad for Peace.
Yes.
In Freenihos Theater. This was the title, and I say to Mrs.
To the Dr. Thomas.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we can convene a Delphiad for peace. Christians always saying we want more Delphiads. So that's like an Olympiad, but in the Delphic tradition. So we could have a Delphiad for peace.
Let me just say one word about this. There is a special prize being offered right now to the organization that has the best program or solution for peace, we can actually be considered for this very large grant that the other people that I'm working with in the United States that have another peace initiative called the Peace Train. And I'm happy to share this information with you. And also, there was another thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But
it's been a long meeting, Alex. Don't worry.
Yes,
but just be in touch. Email it.
yes.
So the Olympiad, the Delphiad for Peace.
Έλα καλή μου Χρυσούλα. Εμείς εδώ, εσείς εκεί, τι κάνετε?
There was a final word. Continue, sir.
No, she's on the telephone. Look, I think we'll go now because I've been, I've got lots of things to do, and then I'm going back to Britain on Saturday. To France on Saturday. So I've got to prepare for all that. But I'll be back in the base in France at the Musée des Muses, and you can contact me next week. Right. Okay. Thank you all, and let's pray that the Gaza thing gets sorted. And Paris, thanks for invoking Apollo with such strength. Blessings.
Blessing to you.
If Karistopoli. Everyone.
Very much. Thank you
Dr.
very much.
Thomas, thank you.
Aristopoli.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.